Gen Friends. I'm your host, Cheri Hudson Passey from Carolina Girl Genealogy, and awesome panelists. We've got Jenny Hawran from Like Herding Cats. Hey, Jenny.
Hey, how are you? Happy to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. And of course, we have the fabulous Melissa Barker with her archives in the background. So, hi, Melissa.
Hi, everybody. So good to be here.
I'm glad to have at least two panelists. Most of our panelists they're traveling. They're out of town. They're out of the country. Some of them. How dare they, right? But we have two very special guests with us tonight. I think you're going to be very, very interested in the project that they have put together. We've got David McCorkle, and you may know him from all his conference talks, his land talks. He has put together, if you're from North Carolina and you don't know who David McCorkle is, shame on you, because he has this wonderful, wonderful website where he's got all the land grants, and it's just wonderful. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing that he's put together. And he gives wonderful presentations. You have probably heard him speak at conferences. So we've got Dave here. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
And I love hearing you talk because I am from South Carolina, but my dad was in the military, so I have no accent.
Well, I do.
You do, and I love it. I love it. So, and of course, we have Diane Richard, and everybody knows who you are from your wonderful conference talks, and you're everywhere all the time. So I'm glad to have you here. But the two of you has started a new venture. So whoever wants to go first and tell us about his GenWebinars, right?
Yes, and we'll let Dave be the spokesperson, and he can corral me in as needed.
Okay.
Well, I will tell you the first thing, we were shocked that we were able to get the domain name GenWebinars. We were trying to figure out a name, and it just came up, and I said, "Oh my gosh, we got to grab it." I sent Diane an email, and she said, "Grab it now."
Yes.
So it is what it says, Genealogy Webinars. And as you mentioned, Diane and I both speak a lot, and nothing beats speaking in person because you have that audience interaction. Right. And especially when you're done, it's not just Q&A, you actually have discussions.
Yes.
So someone may ask a question, you answer it, they follow up, and then somebody else says, "Hey, by the way, I did the same thing and this happened."
Mm-hmm.
And with all the switch to online, you lose a lot of that.
So true.
Because, a lot of people are looking at pre-recorded webinars. Like, I mean, with Legacy, you get for $50, get 2,000, right?
Right.
But you can't ask it questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then even when you do a webinar and you're available for live Q&A after, it's always limited. You're being fed questions from the moderator.
Yeah.
A good example is you mentioned, I guess about 3 weeks ago at the National Genealogical Society conference,
mm-hmm.
I gave a lecture, and you all know this, when you do one of those, you have to record it like in advance.
Yes.
I had to have it recorded in March, but my topic was artificial intelligence,
right.
which changes every week. I cut it short, like 45 to 45 minutes, which is short for me, and hoping to have enough time, and I still didn't. And we talked about things, and I answered the questions. I wanted to do a demo, but it's like, oh, time's up.
Yes, exactly.
And the other thing about the webinars is you type your question in the chat, it comes up in the queue. The moderator asks it, you answer it, but you might have gotten it wrong or misunderstood. And if the person types in a follow-up, that's at the bottom of the queue. So you may never get to their follow-up. So there's just a lot of frustrations with that. And of course, the answer is all the institutes and the multi-track classes, the 8-week classes and all that great stuff.
Yes.
But that costs a lot of money. And some people are ready to do that, some are not. Plus, it takes a time commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to kind of hit in between. So you could sign up for an individual course, just a single course, and hopefully get that experience you would get like in an institute or a classroom situation. So it is more interactive. We are going to allow, we always say as much time as reasonable afterwards, because you don't want the one person who monopolizes and talks for 20 minutes.
Exactly.
That's sort of our goal. We have no earthly idea if it's going to work. And, we do have people actually signed up. So at least a couple of people, we have a set. So we do know that there are some people out there who will pay for this, but,
yes.
We just need to do a lot more publicity. We really only started advertising 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets back to the NGS talk.
Yeah.
On my final slide, I had, contact information. I put GenWebinars. So I said, Diane, when I give that lecture, we better be ready to
You
go.
gotta be ready. Exactly. Well, I know I found too because I did one for NGS too. Sometimes people just don't ask the questions like they would in person or in a more,
Yes.
they just don't. And then I'll get all these emails, sometimes with questions, but they don't ask the questions there. And so this is a great opportunity for people to learn. So
I
Yeah,
think,
well, like
oh,
I said, we've got some good hopes, and
yeah.
Diane has 10 times as many lecture titles as I do, but I think we got enough to get going for a while here and
Sure.
working on more.
That's
well, and
great.
I think part of it is that there's just people who they want to come up and talk to you in between or afterwards. And so what
Mhm.
we're hoping to do is create an environment where they feel comfortable, that
Mhm.
you want to type a message, you can type it because there's people who that's what they want to do, but you want
Right.
to unmute yourself and ask a question, you can do that.
You can do
Because
that
the
too.
thing that I find is I can have my email at the end of hundreds of talks,
Uh-huh.
but that's an extra step
Yep. Yep.
too, that there's a lot of people that if they don't real time kind of get their thought out, their question and get a response,
Yes.
it's only a very dedicated
Yeah.
percentage that are then going to do the emails.
This is true. This is true. And so everybody's different. Everybody,
Yeah.
has a different way that they want to do it, but this way seems like a way that is good for everybody. So, Dave, did you want to bring up and share your
Yeah.
screen and show everybody what the webpage looks like? And while
Sure.
he's doing that, has anybody got a question or? There we go.
All right, we see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the webpage which just launched 2 weeks ago. In fact, we'll probably swap out these images. We went back and forth on those, threw in a few AI things, but it's still let's say it's still under construction.
Sure.
So basically we, have the little blurb about why you want to use it, which is kind of the same thing we just talked about.
Mhm.
All the reasons why. Then you'll see our upcoming webinars over to the right. So, one tomorrow, Diane, that's you.
And so
Um,
these are live webinars, right? They're not recorded?
yes, this
They're
is all
live.
going to be live. That's the whole point, is that way
Yeah,
you get the interaction.
right. Right. I just want to make sure that was clear with everybody that
Yeah,
these.
now what we will do for the people who have purchased it, we do realize that stuff happens, right? So we
Yeah.
will record it and make it available for a little bit afterwards. So if for some reason your
Oh,
computer blew up, you can at least go back and watch the recording.
oh, that's great.
So we will do that as well. If you want to look at all the upcoming ones, you just click upcoming here.
And
And
David's navigating too. Another thing that we're kind of having some fun with is because I know I was just looking at, I think it's OG's conference proposals, right? And then you learn that you can do a 2-page handout.
Right.
Or 4-page handout,
yeah,
or a 6-page, even for virtual programs, there's often those page limitations. And
Yes.
it's like, it takes more effort, as we know as speakers, to cut down a handout than it is to keep it longer. So what's nice is, for example, for my the talk on death records, I have a handout, but I have articles I've written over the last few years for internet genealogy and your genealogy
Yes,
today. Well, those articles can become part of the resources that attendees
exactly.
get. So they're going to get the handout, but because I don't have to worry about
Right.
2 pages, 4 pages. I mean, I won't give them
Hey,
100
it's
pages,
your
but
webpage. It's your website.
yeah,
You
to
can
say,
do what you want.
well, it's also, your title can be no more than 24 letters long.
Oh gosh. Those are so hard, aren't they? When you've got what you feel like is a perfect title and other people have accepted that perfect title and then the next
yeah.
place won't. You're like,
Or the descriptions, right? That
oh
are,
my gosh.
25 words, and you're
Yes.
like, because you want to try to get people
Well,
intrigued by the topic, but give them a sense that
Yes.
there's what's
yeah, see,
substantive
Yeah,
behind it,
just look
right?
at that. That's great. Yeah. Yeah, you can
yeah,
never
so
do that for a conference.
yeah, it's us, we can do whatever we want.
Yes, this looks great. Now people are going to want to know how much are the webinars? Are they?
Everything is $25.
Oh gosh.
So that's the set, price. And the other thing I forgot to mention is The other issue with live webinars is this is going to be Wednesday at 7:30, and you're like, oh gosh, I got a commitment. Each one we're going to give multiple times.
Aha.
Like her death
Gotcha.
record is June the 4th at 7:30, and if you scroll down a little bit,
She's doing
you'll
it
see it again here,
again.
June 27th at 10:30 on Saturday morning.
Gotcha.
So that's
Yeah.
another thing, is to try to, not just helping us, but especially helping our potential customers to be able to do these things.
Exactly.
The other thing we have done, as y'all who have given presentations know, I can't find the Zoom link email. Where did the email go? Or where's the handout? Find the handouts. And we have one answer to that, and that is my account.
Okay.
So when I go to my account, let me go ahead and sign on here.
See, he actually
I'm
remembers
actually-
his passwords. Is that not scary? Okay, people, I just want to tell you.
I'm actually registered for Diane's tomorrow just for testing. So here it
Yeah.
goes, upcoming. So I've got her webinar tomorrow. I can also see ones that I've already done in my profile and all that. When I click
Okay.
on this, I get my personal page for this webinar. There's the Zoom link right there.
Gotcha.
That's
So
awesome.
we do email it in advance, but if they can't
Yeah.
find their email, there's the Zoom link. And then here's not just the handout, but all these different materials she's provided
Oh, that's
related to
wonderful.
that particular thing. So, so then you click handout, it opens up in a new tab. So then you can have the handout up while you're listening to the presentation.
Perfect.
A little
Perfect.
slow. Yeah, and here's her handout.
Look at that.
Download it, look at it, whatever. And you can have this up. So the whole idea is when you start your presentation, you just go to my account page,
Huh.
and then you have everything there. You lose your Zoom connection, the link is right there waiting for you. So,
Right.
so that's the other thing we're trying to do to make
Yeah.
this a little more
That's wonderful.
the right
I
word?
love that, because even as a presenter, sometimes I simply go where I'm supposed to log in. Jenny.
What I was going to say is what I love about this is a couple different things. Is one, that everybody learns differently. So some people need something shorter. Some people need something longer, and you're kind of met in the middle here, and you're giving people, the options to go as deep as they want. I mean, however long they keep you afterwards, to talk.
Yeah, that's
But
going to be the test.
Yeah.
But what I also love is you're not requiring a subscription, so that people can pick and choose, which
Yes.
I
Yes.
love. I absolutely love,
Yes.
because I always feel like I don't utilize my subscriptions as much, but now I can choose. But I love this. I absolutely love it. I think it's
Well,
great.
thank you. Yeah, that we had specifically talked about that and decided a la carte.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
really like
we
the-
plan to run like some series. We've got some thoughts about, Dave doing AI, me doing ledgers, which is one of my passions,
Yeah.
us doing North Carolina, but having a series out there, but not making it a requirement, so you could jump in where
Right.
you want, that you could
Yeah.
start with the beginning if you've never done ledgers. But if you feel, hey, I'm somewhat familiar, you could jump into talk 3 or talk 4.
Exactly.
And again, it's your decision. We're treating you as adults, or that's how we like to think about it, that you can decide what you think will benefit you the most.
Yeah, I think that's great. And talking about your ledgers. Oh my gosh, I love your your ledgers, but I can't ever find one.
Well,
always
okay, I
like-
can't promise.
I know.
It's like telling people there's candy out there,
I know.
and then you can't find it. So yeah,
I know. They're wonderful. But I've got high hopes. Now I know I can look for them and where. So one of these days.
and you will find one. One of these
Yeah.
days you'll find it. It won't be where you expect it, because it'll be
Probably.
serendipity.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Melissa, did you have a question or a comment?
Oh, I was just going to say I really like this concept, because as a speaker myself, and I speak on researching and archives, archived records, and records preservation, I get tons of questions, but then the platforms that I'm normally, working through, societies and things, does not allow for that. And I understand that because they keep it to a certain thing. So
Yeah.
I, like you, I get a lot of emails and I talk to people, especially afterwards,
Mhm.
because, when you're talking records preservation, there's a lot of detail and a lot of products and different things. And when you're talking archived records, just like your ledgers, I mean, I have tons of ledgers in my archives. I have records that are not online, not microfilmed, that I
Right.
share in my webinars all the time. And then so
and that's
people
where I
are
go
like,
to
hey,
Melissa.
where is that? You know,
She posts things on Facebook and I'll drop her a message. Okay, can I use that in my
Yeah.
talk about this? And well, I think the other thing too, kind of along those lines, is that if we're talking for libraries or societies meeting at libraries, they close at a certain point. Security's
Yes.
coming in, they have to shut down.
Yes.
And it's in the physical days, because I've done it, locally here, you'd be
Right.
talking in the parking lot, right? But you could do that with a physical talk, but when you're doing a Zoom talk, you almost need that parking lot time. You've been
Exactly.
kicked out of the building but you still want to talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
This
like I
is
said, that's what we're trying to capture,
right.
hopefully. I
Yeah.
also point out, these don't have to be PDFs either. So for example, if I had a spreadsheet, I could just put a spreadsheet here and they click and it'll just download it just like from your website or a
Nice.
Word doc or something like a template you want to give somebody. So it
Nice.
doesn't have to be a PDF. It can be any kind of file we want to share.
Ah,
And the other thing we call this, what was our word? Handouts for life. So what happens
Yeah.
is you saw how on the other page, once this webinar is finished, you can call it back up. And for, a few days after, there'll be the link to the video,
mhm.
but then that'll disappear and the Zoom, of course, will disappear, but the handouts will stay there.
Oh,
So
that's
let's suppose Diane updates her handout for a future presentation. We'll just update it all in one spot. So
ah,
you'll have an updated handout.
that's great.
Right. So there's one page for each unique talk topic.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
so
Yeah.
is in the future, people can always look at the latest and greatest, because that's the one that will be there.
That's the one that will be there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Which is great because again, we have to turn in our handouts sometimes so far in advance. And then by the time we get to the talk, we'll have to say, well, this link is not in there. I'm sorry, but you can take a picture of this slide. This link is not in there. I'm sorry, because
that happened to me with the AI talk on the handout. And I contacted Matt, I think he was in. I said, I got some additions. I mean, the Chat GPT 4.0 just like appeared the week of my talk. I was like, can I just add something to the Whova page? And it's like, no, it's just the handout. They let me update the handout. So that was not,
Yeah.
they let me send
Yeah.
a new PDF, but
Oh, that's good.
you only have one PDF.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And we'll probably expand this. Like this is probably where we'll maybe put our surveys or course evaluations. We can put anything we want on this page because this is all custom stuff. I didn't mention, or you maybe did, that I'm a programmer guy. So,
that helps. Yeah.
so this is all stuff that I wrote all the stuff to do this.
Yeah, you've been doing things like that for a long, long time. I've seen pictures of you.
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah, I've seen pictures of you on those big, huge computers like we all had back in the day.
Okay, yeah, you must have listened to my AI talk.
So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. This is
and
really,
he kind of alluded to another kind of thing too, which is what's not seen here, but when I do the talk tomorrow night, it'll actually be the front part of the talk, is putting in some polls and surveys, because as speakers, we know you can talk, you can adjust on the fly if you have a sense of the audience, right?
Yes.
So if I do polls about, beginner, are you beginner, intermediate, advanced, professional? Are you looking at 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, or you look, you can ask a few questions, because when we're talking to our slides, we know, we'll get that basic information out, but we can always slant it a little bit based on, And then adding things like whiteboards in between, or little, I don't want to say quizzes. People get nervous to think, I'm going to be quizzed. But, the idea again of being more interactive. So not just
Right.
discussion at the end. So
Yeah.
trying to bring in some of those elements, like what I was doing when I did the App Gen program with Mary and that group. And, when you have a bit more time or just think about it differently,
Yes. Yes.
that you can incorporate, and it gives it's both an opportunity to see, are you making your point or not? But it also gives the
Mhm.
audience a chance to, be thinking about, what did you say?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and do something other than stare at the screen as you're just drinking your drink or something.
Exactly. Exactly. Jenny, you've got a question or a comment?
Yeah, I was, so what is your goal or your plans for the future, as far as, are you going to bring in maybe other instructors, or are you just going to keep it, more tight? What's kind of your plans with that?
Depends on if it works.
I mean, and it sounds facetious, but if it's successful, what's nice about what David has created, since he was able to program it, is it's easy to accommodate other speakers within this platform. So it's not a platform limited to the two of us, but obviously we want to try to get it off the ground
Right.
with
Right.
what we know and do. And then if it is successful, definitely reach out to the community, and obviously trying to focus on people with either complementary, topics that would
Mhm.
round out. He and I only have certain areas of expertise that we're going to pursue, to round that out, or just as much for scheduling too, because once we've got the
Sure.
platform and everything's in motion, and after somebody's done it a few times, where the game plan is that for the most part, I will run my sessions, he runs his sessions. And as long as we're not trying to be on top of one another in time,
Right.
then you could run sessions every night, every morning,
Yep.
whatever suits
Yeah.
who's ever involved.
Yeah,
Well, I
exactly.
hope you don't mind answering this question if you can, but how did you and David get together as a team?
We
How did you
have,
meet?
I'm
okay, you
thinking of,
know, but you're the one who always remembers. When did we first meet?
well, yeah, that was like, I mean, that was just, she was lecturing and I was listening, but I think specifically, so we encountered each other off and on, but she spoke to like some of the groups I was in, but Diane started a venture with another person called Tar Heel Discoveries,
Yes.
where you would have people come into the archives and do research, and
Mhm.
I did their
remember that.
website.
Ah,
Right, he
So
did
that's
the
where we really
website.
started interacting,
Okay.
was when I did the website.
Right.
And then going back to the website, my website you mentioned, which is nclandgrants.com,
mhm.
that was all just me. And after a couple of years and people started using it more, I said, you know what, this needs to kind of survive me. So I created a nonprofit to run it,
Yeah.
NC Historical Records Online. So I needed a board, and Diane got Diane to be on the board. So once that happened, then we really started interacting more and more on that. But we both found out we sort of have the same presentation style. We have slides, but those are just sort of our prompts, and we mostly just
Mhm.
talk.
Mhm.
We don't
Yeah.
have like scripts and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff written.
And we have no problem talking, right, David?
And we both always try to cram in as much as possible. So we're always accused of, the whole fire hose scenario.
Yeah.
We're both like that. So
That sounds like my way of that's how I present too. I don't use notes. I don't use anything.
Right.
My slides are my key, or my
Yes.
trigger,
prompt.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, between all of us, I think we're all, we all do this, but I just feel like that if you know your stuff, if you look at a slide, you can tell it.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's true.
exactly.
Well,
That's
you
true.
can
So-
tell it and you can tailor it. And what's
Oh,
fun
yeah.
for me as a speaker is it's always different. It's the same but different, right?
Yeah.
Every talk you give, it's going to have the same backbone, but the
Yeah,
stories change. That's why
exactly.
when you know who your audience is, or
Yeah.
you've had a new research experience that you want to
Yes.
incorporate,
Exactly, exactly. I do have to confess that I do write myself a little script, because if I don't, I go on tangents. And then we get to, halfway through and it's like, oh, okay, the time is running out. So I do it to keep me on point.
I have timers that nobody can hear because they're in my head.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have them
yeah.
going off, and then I
There
can
you
sit there
go.
and go, okay, I'm down to the 5 minutes, and I'll say to people, you thought I was talking fast now. Okay, now we got 5 more minutes, or okay, there's no way I'm gonna make it. So, all right, during Q&A, as it starts, I'm gonna keep doing the rest of the slides and then do Q&A. So yeah, we've all been there.
Oh
So
gosh, so
Yeah.
funny. So funny.
So
Well,
yeah, so when we thought of this idea, we were obviously, it's like, let's do it.
well, it's a
and
good,
obviously, David's technical expertise that he could bring to it. I mean, without that as part of the partnership, this is the kind of thing that would be a pie in the sky thought for me. Because
Yeah.
even with Tar Heel Discoveries, where, with him doing the website that I could go in and modify, but it was
Mhm.
really based on the ground research, doing lectures.
Right.
The brunt of it was the things that I'm comfortable doing and experienced doing.
Yes.
But creating the website, my own website, for Pete's sakes, and he'll tell you, isn't even updated and current and can't even be updated right now. It's on such an old platform that, that's one tech thing too far for me.
Yeah, and the other thing, for us as instructors behind the scenes, I've also got things like, for example, when you schedule your thing, you can push a button and it automatically creates the Zoom session meeting.
Mm.
So you don't have to go into Zoom and set up the meeting. It does that for you.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
And likewise, when someone purchases one, it automatically registers them to Zoom.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
they
great.
don't have to deal with the registration link or anything. So they don't see anything until just before the session when we give them the link,
Huh.
because we don't have Zoom send them the email.
Wow.
Because, you always have the concern of people sharing links and stuff. And
Oh,
this
of
way,
course. Of
nobody sees
course.
the link until it's time to see the link.
Oh, you're gonna have to let people know that though, because they're gonna go, where's my link? I didn't get my notification. I didn't
Well,
really.
we see
Yeah.
when they purchase it, it says it in the
Okay.
receipt. It
Yeah.
says,
Let's
look,
let
be
them
on the
read.
lookout. And then, the day or two before, we hadn't decided yet. I just sent them out today for the one tomorrow.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
the email and it says, here's what to do, here's the
Yeah,
Zoom
that's
link, et cetera, et
great.
cetera.
Yeah, I think that's
great.
great.
Well, it's
Yeah.
also that my accounts page component too, because
Yeah.
that's why we're having them register. So it's not a case where they just get the link, that everybody does have to provide a name and a working email address. So it has to be
Yes.
authenticated. So
Yes.
that way people can't say, well, wait a minute, that was the wrong email, or,
Yes. There you
you get
go.
around those. Well, they can always now go to my account,
Yeah.
and then they can see what they have signed up for
Mm-hmm.
right there, but also they can find the handouts and the Zoom link.
Right.
So even if they go, wait a
Perfect.
minute, I don't remember getting that email.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-oh, a bug. Got to make a note to fix that.
Well, maybe it is today somewhere.
It could be looking at the Greenwich time or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
be.
It's June
It
4th
is.
somewhere.
It actually would be today if it's doing Greenwich Mean Time.
Yeah, I need to fix that. Oops. Oops.
Oh gosh. This is just really great. I'm so glad you guys came on and shared this. Melissa is the one that said, hey, look what they're doing. We need to have them on. So I appreciate
Yeah,
Melissa.
I saw it came
Oh.
out. Diane announced it, and so I follow her, and I saw it, and I thought, oh, this is. When I went to the website, I was reading about the interactiveness and things, and I thought, this is kind of, I think, unique in
Yes.
genealogy education.
Mhm.
And so was really excited to see it, and excited to see to be a success, because I think, inconsistent with everyone else.
Fingers crossed.
You just don't get enough interaction, or time for interaction, I guess is the correct way to say that, with other speaking engagements. And so I think this is going to be great. And I think it'll be very beneficial to genealogists, whether they're beginners, intermediates, professionals. I think that it'll be a benefit for them as well.
Right. And you're both great speakers. So that's,
Yeah.
a plus.
You're
that
making
both
us
really
blush.
great.
I'm not sure what color I'm coming across.
No,
Probably
you're both
blue, but
very good speakers, very knowledgeable about your topic.
Yes.
and that's going to help too. So I think this is going to be a great success. I really do.
And what I like about your website, because I'm a web designer myself, is that it's clean and it's simple. Like you're not putting too much information that I
Yes,
have to
yeah.
weed through. I'm seeing the keywords right away. Okay. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm on it. And that is a big plus for me because people don't have long attention spans when it comes to wanting to find stuff like that. So,
True.
that's
Yeah,
another
and you
plus.
notice when you go to the top of the menu, how I said, Diane, we're only having like 5 menu things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No,
none of them are whatever you call them, where it drops down. It's
Drop
like,
down. Yeah.
these
No,
are the
very
ones.
smart.
This is it.
Yeah.
We don't
Keeping
need
it
any more
simple,
than
and
what's there.
And that's why we also put descriptors after titles, because figuring if somebody
Yes.
just reads a title, then they know it's land, it's general research, it's something.
Right.
And they don't even read the description because we're working on the premise that you got to catch them in 10 words,
Oh,
Yeah.
even if our
so
title's
true.
longer.
Yep.
Yep, exactly. That's right. Everybody's just their attention spans are like about.
They're like that. Well, that's where we actually put a fair amount of time into the logo thing and trying to figure out something that was simple but symbolic. And you may or may not have noticed that the geometric shape on it is kind of alludes to a computer screen or a computer monitor
Gotcha.
thing.
Okay.
And then we put the tree behind Jen, so trying to kind
Yes.
of go computer screen behind webinars, tree behind Jen for genealogy, and then hoping that would just reinforce the whole genealogy webinars concept. And that was the one place David let me have some fun and get some color.
Well, I'm very, very excited for you with this new venture. So I'm so grateful that you're able to come on. Is there anything else that we didn't cover that you want to talk about? That you
think of him. I mean, really, I'm so appreciative of you having us, come on to talk about it, because sometimes you wonder, are you just playing with yourself and it seems like a good idea? Versus, are you really, fulfilling the need that you hope you are in terms of, high content, enthusiastic, dynamic.
And like I said, there's a lot of stuff out there that's, well, I say our biggest competition is free.
Yes.
So we just have to, and we know, like I said, we do have people coming, so we know there are people who are willing to pay, and we just hope there's enough to keep us going. That's just more or less, that's it. That, we're offering the better benefit over the free.
There you go. Yeah.
Especially the pre-recorded free things.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you. Panelists, do you have any questions or comments before we wrap this up?
No, just I hope it's a great success. I think you really are onto something. So yeah.
I do too. I think in a year's time, we're going to be talking about how successful it is. So,
I think so
hey, fingers crossed.
Well, again, the most successful was getting that name. I'm still shocked it was available.
I'm shocked too. With all the webinar platforms and stuff out there, I'm shocked too. So good for you. Good for you.
We're hoping a good omen.
Yes. Thank you for coming and talking to us about it. We wish you all the best of luck on this. And check it out. And and go in there and find you some webinars to watch and support this new venture. So anyway, thank you for coming, and we will see you next time on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.